Bachelor of Science Nursing Microbiology, Unit 1. Historic Perspective, Microbiology in Nursing. Introduction, Medical Microbiology, the medical branch that deals with causative agents of infectious diseases of man, his reaction to those infections, the ways in which they produce disease and the methods for diagnosis. Study of causative agent of infectious disease. Etiology. Man's respond to the infections, disease, symptoms of disease. Distribution or habitat of disease to humans. Epidemiology. Steps of producing disease. Pathogenesis. Diagnosing the disease. Laboratory. Diagnosis. Important scientists. Microbiology. Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, father of microbiology. Louis Pasteur, father of modern microbiology. Joseph Lister, father of antiseptic surgery. Robert Koch, father of bacteriology. Edward Jenner, smallpox vaccine. Alexander Fleming, penicillin antibiotic. Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, 1632 to 1723. He is father of microbiology. He was a Dutch textile merchant and linen draper. He discovered both protists and bacteria, called them animalcules. He discovered blood cells and microscopic nematodes. 1673, he reported his first observations: bee mouthparts, stings, human louse and fungus. Royal Society, 1676, he observed water and saw tiny organisms, first bacteria observed by man and called animalcules. Robert Hooke confirmed his discoveries. He discovered sperm, described spermatozoa, and concluded fertilization occurs when spermatozoa penetrated the egg. Louis Pasteur, 1822 to 1895. He is father of modern microbiology. He was trained chemist of France Pasteur contributions. He established that fermentation was caused by microbial agents. Developed methods and techniques of bacteriology. Proved that all forms of life, even microbes, grow only from their progeny, not de novo development of steam, sterilizer, autoclave and hot air oven. Studies on anthrax, chicken cholera and hydrophobia. He introduced attenuated live vaccine for prophylactic use. He demonstrated the protective role of anthrax vaccine in animals, incubated at high temperature, 42 to 43 degrees Celsius, and proved that bacilli induced specific protection against anthrax. He coined the term vaccine. He developed a vaccine for hydrophobia, rabies, milestone for immunization in medicine. Robert Koch, 1843 to 1910. German general practitioner, father of bacteriology, Koch contributions. Perfected bacteriological techniques and introduced methods for isolation of pure strains of bacteria. Introduced methods of obtaining bacteria in pure cultures using solid media. Introduced staining techniques, discovered the anthax bacillus, tubercle bacillus and the cholera vibrios. Robert Koch postulates. A microorganism can be accepted as the causative agent of an infectious disease only if the following conditions are fulfilled. The organism should be constantly associated with the lesions of the disease. It should be possible to isolate the organism in pure culture from the lesion of the disease. The isolated organism, i.e., in pure culture, when inoculated in suitable laboratory animals, should produce a similar disease. It should be possible to re-isolate the organism in pure culture from the lesions produced in the experimental animals. Additional criterion introduced subsequently requires that specific antibodies to the organisms should be demonstrable in the serum of patients. These postulates have proved to be useful in confirming doubtful claims made regarding the causative agents of infectious diseases. but it may not always be possible to satisfy all the not fulfilling the Koch's postulates. Lepra bacillus. Koch phenomenon. Robert Koch observed that guinea pigs already infected with tubercle bacillus responded with an exaggerated inflammatory response when injected with the tubercle bacillus or its protein. This hypersensitivity reaction is called Koch's phenomenon. Alexander Fleming, 1881–1955, Scottish biologist and pharmacologist. The best achievements discovery of enzyme, lysozyme. 1923, discovery of penicillin antibiotic. 1928, awarded Nobel Prize with Howard Walter and Ernst Boris. 1945, penicillin discovery. I did not invent penicillin. Nature did that. I only discovered it by accident. He researched under Almroth Wright, pioneer in immunology and vaccine research. He observed the death of many of his fellow soldiers during World War I due to anaerobic bacterial infection. Fleming observed that the bacteria in proximity to the mold colonies were dying, as evidenced by the dissolving and clearing of the surrounding agar gel. He was able to isolate the mold and identified it as a member of the Penicillium genus. He found it to be effective against all gram-positive pathogens, which are responsible for diseases such as scarlet fever, pneumonia, gonorrhea, meningitis, and diphtheria. Howard Florey and Ernst Chain help, Fleming team was able to mass-produce penicillin used during World War II and saved millions of lives. Joseph Lister, 1827–1912, British surgeon and professor of surgery at Glasgow Royal Infirmary, known as the father of antiseptic surgery. Advancements in Surgery, 1867, introduced antiseptic techniques that significantly reduced mortality and morbidity caused by surgical sepsis. His work marked a milestone in the evolution of surgical practice, transitioning from an era of laudable pews, where post-surgical infection was considered normal, to modern aseptic techniques. Lister's contributions used carbolic acid, phenol, as an antiseptic agent to prevent infections. Aimed to eliminate bacteria from entering the human body during surgery. Methods included spraying carbolic acid on surgical instruments, wounds, and dressings. Significant reduction in cases of gangrene and post-surgical infections. Made surgeons wear gloves and wash hands with diluted carbolic acid before and after surgery. Impact of Lister's work. His antiseptic techniques revolutionized surgery, leading to the development of modern sterilization practices. The introduction of antisepsis and asepsis dramatically increased surgical success rates and improved patient safety. Edward Jenner, 1749–1823. Pioneer of smallpox vaccine and father of immunology, worked as a general practitioner and surgeon. Smallpox, a deadly disease with stages of macules, papules, vesicles, pustules, and hemorrhagic cases affecting 10 million people annually in 44 countries. Observations. Milkmaids with cowpox didn't get smallpox. Cowpox blisters pus provided immunity. Jenner's experiment, 1796, inoculated 8-year-old James Phipps with cowpox material. The boy developed mild symptoms, but no severe illness. Later exposed him to smallpox, he remained immune. Key contributions. Proved cowpox inoculation prevented smallpox. Demonstrated person-to-person vaccination. Conducted 23 case studies before publishing. Established the Jennerian Institution, 1803 to promote vaccination. Smallpox eradicated on May 8, 1980, WHO. Smallpox as a bioterrorism concern led to destruction of stocks, 1999,